Funny thing about life, isn't it? It loves to humiliate you before it honors you. It breaks you in front of everyone, makes you look like a fool, strips away your pride until all that's left is your raw, trembling soul. People watch. They whisper, they laugh. They think it's over for you. They think you've fallen too far to ever climb back. But what they don't know is that the stage of shame is always built right before the show of glory. You know what's funny? Everyone prays for the reward, but no one wants the silence before it. They cry, "Where is it? Where's my blessing?" But they never notice it's already moving, quietly, behind the curtain. That's the trick. Before the lights hit you, before the applause, before the so-called miracle, there's humiliation. Public humiliation. That's the deal no one talks about. You're stripped, mocked, misunderstood, and everyone thinks you've lost. And you let them, because you know something they don't. The fall isn't the end. It's the performance, the setup, the moment before the spotlight hits your face. That's when the story begins to twist. You see, people like to watch others fall. They find entertainment in it. They sip their coffee while whispering your name like it's gossip, not realizing they're actually advertising your upcoming show. They think you're broken, finished, forgotten. Oh, but that's the beauty of it. They don't realize that humiliation is holy ground. It's where power hides before it's revealed. Every insult, every eye roll, every door that slammed in your face, it wasn't rejection. It was choreography. The director was just moving the props, adjusting the lights, setting the stage. You were never losing. You were just waiting for your cue. And that's what drives them crazy. The silence, the stillness. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop fighting for attention. Because in that silence, you're growing into something they can't control anymore. And deep down, they feel it. They sense it. That tension, that shift, that uneasy quiet before thunder. They can't see what's coming, but they know it's big. Because humiliation is never random. It's targeted, precise. It hits where your pride hides, where your fear breathes, where your ego still clings to comfort. It burns everything fake until only truth stands there, raw and unashamed. You start to realize that maybe the humiliation was the blessing. Because while they were laughing, you were learning. While they mocked, you were molding. Every whispered insult became fuel. Every snicker became another push toward destiny. That's the real alchemy, turning shame into power. You think gold is made in the light. No, it's born in the fire. Same with you. You don't rise clean. You rise charred, scarred, and glowing. That's why they'll stare when it happens. They'll ask, how? As if they didn't see you crawl through the mud they threw. There's something poetic about that reversal. The crowd that clapped when you fell will have to watch when you rise. The same mouths that mocked you will struggle to form words when your name fills the air. That's how divine timing works. It waits until everyone who doubted you is seated, comfortable, and sure of your failure. Then it lifts you right in front of them. Not to brag, not to gloat, but to prove that humiliation wasn't destruction. It was direction, a detour into destiny, the kind that doesn't need an apology, only recognition. But here's the catch. If you skip the humiliation, you skip the crown. Everyone wants glory without the dirt, but the dirt is where the roots grow. That's where you learn how to survive when applause fades. That's where you find out who you are when no one's watching. So, when you're sitting there, feeling overlooked, ignored, or laughed at, remember, the script isn't over. You're just in the quiet part before the reveal. The reward isn't late. It's gathering strength, waiting for the perfect moment to make a scene so loud the same people who doubted you will pretend they always believed. And when that moment comes, you won't even need to say, "I told you so." The look in their eyes will be enough. The irony will taste sweeter than any victory speech, because deep down, they'll remember every word they said when you were down. And you'll smile, not out of revenge, but recognition, that every bruise, every tear, every humiliating silence was proof that the story wasn't over yet. The world thought it was burying you, but it was really planting you. And now, the ground is starting to shake. They say the reward is coming, but what they don't tell you is, it won't look like a reward at first. It'll look like chaos, like loss, like betrayal wrapped in silence. You'll start wondering if the universe forgot your address. You'll see others rising while you're still crawling. And you'll think, maybe it's not my turn. But that's the illusion, the test that separates the loud from the chosen. Because when something big is about to happen, it doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It arrives like a storm, quiet before it crashes, hidden in plain sight. You start to notice things shifting, people pulling away, opportunities drying up, the laughter fading. It feels like the world's closing in on you. But it's not punishment. It's positioning. See, before the light shines on you, it has to remove every shadow pretending to be your friend. Before you're rewarded publicly, you're isolated privately. It's the cleaning before the celebration, the silence before the scream. The universe is saying, you can't take everyone with you this time. So it strips you of distractions, even the ones you begged to keep. And that's where the pain sharpens you. Because you learn that not everyone clapping for you wants you to win. Some just want front row seats to your failure. They'll pretend to support you until your reward becomes undeniable. Then suddenly, they'll call it luck. But it's not luck, is it? It's the invisible work. The nights you stayed up crying, the mornings you still showed up, the faith you held when no one was watching. That's the part they'll never understand, the price behind the prize. You see, the public reward isn't about money, fame, or applause. It's about proof. Proof that what you believed in wasn't a fantasy. Proof that the suffering wasn't wasted. That's what makes it so powerful. Because it's not just validation, it's revelation. You didn't imagine it, you were right to hold on. And deep down, you knew it. Even when it made no sense. Even when everything screamed, give up. You kept going. And that's why it's coming. Not because you were perfect, but because you were persistent. People underestimate the timing of reward. They think delay means denial. But no delay means design. It's the universe rearranging the stage so when your moment comes, no one can deny it. It's setting the spotlight so bright, even your enemies will have to squint. That's why it takes time. It's not just about blessing you, it's about preparing the audience. The same ones who whispered about you in the dark will have to watch your name rise in light. That's the real poetic justice. Not revenge, but revelation. But here's the twist. The reward doesn't come to prove them wrong. It comes to prove you right. It's not about them. It's about you realizing that you were never crazy for believing. That your intuition, your hope, your resilience, they weren't weaknesses, they were signs, clues. Evidence that something divine had its eyes on you the entire time. And when it finally hits, it won't sneak in quietly. It'll make noise. It'll flip the script in a way no one saw coming. That's the thing about divine rewards. They're not subtle. They're cinematic. They make people double take. What? Wasn't that the one who lost everything? Yes. The same one. The one who stayed when it hurt. The one who forgave when it burned. The one who smiled when it didn't make sense. You see, the public reward isn't just about you winning. It's about the world witnessing transformation. It's about reminding everyone that you can't bury what was meant to rise. But don't expect applause from everyone. Some will act like they didn't notice. Some will look away, pretending they're too busy. That's fine. The point isn't their reaction. The point is your revelation. You no longer need their approval. The same people whose opinions once broke you will lose their power over you the moment your reward arrives. That's the true payoff. Freedom. The kind that can't be bought, only earned through pain, patience, and persistence. You start walking differently after that. Not because you're proud, but because you're peaceful. You stop explaining, stop proving, stop defending. You just let the evidence speak. You let the glow do the talking. Because deep down, you realize the public reward was never about shining in front of them. It was about showing you what was always inside you. The light, the strength, the divine fingerprint that never left, even when the world turned its back. And the best part, when it happens, it won't make sense to anyone. They'll try to explain it, rationalize it, minimize it, but they won't be able to. Because the timing, the placement, the precision, it'll be too perfect, too poetic, too powerful. That's when they'll realize it wasn't chance. It was chosen. It was written long before the world doubted you. And you'll just stand there calm, quiet, finally understanding why it took so long. Because the reward was never small. It was always meant to be seen. You ever notice how people only start watching you when you stop begging for their attention? The moment you stop chasing validation, they suddenly lean in, curious, confused, almost nervous. That's because silence, real silence, is loud. Louder than words, louder than anger, louder than desperation. It's unsettling. They can't handle it. They expected you to break, to scream, to explain yourself, but instead, you just disappeared into your focus. That's when they realize something shifted. That's when they start wondering what you know that they don't. You see, the world doesn't respect noise. It respects control. Everyone's busy talking, posting, pretending. But few have mastered the art of shutting up and moving in the dark. There's a kind of power that grows when you stop feeding your energy into every little battle. Because not every insult deserves a reaction. Not every betrayal needs revenge. And not every loss is a defeat. Sometimes walking away is the most violent thing you can do. Because it starves your enemies of the drama they crave. It leaves them arguing with their own shadows, trying to understand why you didn't crumble. That's when you become dangerous. Not because you've changed, but because you've learned restraint. The same people who used to laugh at you will start whispering about you. Something's different about them. Oh, it is. It's called awareness. You've stopped playing games that never paid you back. You've stopped explaining your value to people too blind to see it. You've stopped waiting for permission to move. And the world hates that kind of confidence because it can't be bought, manipulated, or destroyed. It comes from pain that taught you discipline. It's funny how the tables turn. The same ones who once ignored you will start reaching out, pretending it's just to check in. But you'll hear it in their tone, curiosity mixed with guilt. They want to know what made you glow again. They want to know who's behind that calm smile, what's fueling that new energy. But you don't owe them an explanation. You learn that not everyone who applauds you actually means it. Some clap just to count how high you climb before they try to pull you back down. So you keep your plans quiet. You let your progress be the rumor. And that's the beauty of moving in silence. People can't attack what they can't predict. They can't destroy what they don't understand. They'll think you're being secretive, maybe even arrogant. But what they don't realize is you're protecting peace, not playing games. You're tired of giving pieces of yourself to people who only show up when it benefits them. You're done explaining blessings that were never meant to be understood by small minds. The truth is, growth is uncomfortable because it requires distance. You can't evolve while surrounded by noise. You can't elevate while explaining your every step to people still crawling. That's why isolation comes before recognition. That's why your silence feels heavy. It's filled with focus, with rebuilding, with transformation. While they're busy gossiping, you're busy grinding. While they're seeking attention, you're seeking alignment. That's the difference between those who chase fame and those who build legacy. And when you finally resurface, it won't be subtle. The glow will speak for itself. The same people who laughed will suddenly call you lucky. They'll say things like, "You changed." But you didn't change. You just stopped shrinking. You stopped explaining your purpose to people who were never supposed to understand it. You stopped letting temporary opinions distract you from permanent goals. You see, silence doesn't mean weakness. It means you're learning to listen to what others can't hear. The whispers of timing, the rhythm of destiny, the heartbeat of something greater. But here's the part they'll never get. Silence isn't absence, it's preparation. You weren't hiding, you were healing. You weren't avoiding, you were aligning. Every rejection, every betrayal, every quiet night of doubt was a setup, a restructuring, a cleansing. So when your moment comes, it won't feel like a surprise. It'll feel like confirmation. You'll realize that while they were talking, you were transforming. And that's the secret they'll never understand. That the quiet ones are the ones who hit hardest. They think success makes noise, but real power moves in whispers. It doesn't shout, it doesn't announce, it doesn't warn. It just arrives, suddenly, without explanation. That's why silence scares people, because it hides intention. It keeps them guessing. And the truth is, people fear what they can't read. When they can't figure you out, they start making up stories. Let them. Every rumor they create becomes free promotion for your next chapter. Every doubt they throw your way becomes fuel for your fire. And the best part, you don't even have to respond. You just keep building, keep smiling, keep showing up. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself is the moment you take your power back. The silence becomes your language, your weapon, your protection. And those who once underestimated you will be the same ones trying to figure out how you did it without saying a word. Because that's the secret most never learn. The loudest moves are made in silence. Funny thing about people. They always think they can see everything. They look at you, judge you, label you. Wrap your life into a neat little box and call it the truth. But they have no idea what's really happening behind the curtain. They don't know about the nights you stayed awake talking to yourself, convincing your mind not to give up. They don't know about the tears that never reached your cheeks because you were too tired to cry. They only see the part that's easy to watch, the surface. But the surface never tells the full story, does it? See? That's what makes this life so unpredictable. It's built on hidden layers. Everyone's trying to read the ending, while the writer's still holding the pen. People assume the story's over, because the scene looks dark. But what they don't realize is that some chapters need the dark. You can't see the stars until the sky goes black. You can't discover strength until weakness knocks you to your knees. You can't appreciate peace until chaos has screamed your name. That's how it works. The pain you curse today is the same one that will shape you tomorrow. You start to understand that everything is connected. The losses, the heartbreaks, the betrayals. They're not accidents. They're part of a divine pattern that doesn't make sense when you're in it, but becomes crystal clear when you're through it. You begin to realize that maybe the pain didn't come to destroy you. Maybe it came to wake you up, to force you to stop pretending, to strip away everything fake until only truth remains. Because comfort doesn't grow character. Discomfort does. And people won't understand that. They'll watch your struggle and laugh. They'll think you're finished, but you'll smile because deep down, you know something they don't. You're not being buried, you're being planted. And when you rise, it won't be quiet. Growth makes noise. The same soil that tried to hold you down will be the reason you stand taller. That's the irony of destiny. It uses the same weapons, meant to kill you to crown you. Every betrayal becomes redirection. Every insult becomes ignition. Every failure becomes foundation. The thing is, people only see the result, never the rebuilding. They see the glow, but not the ashes you rose from. They see the confidence, but not the moments you almost gave up. They see the success, but not the solitude that built it. That's why you can't let their opinions define your worth. You know what you've survived. You know what it took to get here. You know how many times you broke silently and fixed yourself in secret. So when they talk, let them. Because words can't touch a soul that's already been through the fire. The truth is, you're not supposed to explain your pain to people who haven't earned the right to hear it. Not everyone deserves access to your scars. Some people only want your story so they can use it against you. Let them think they know you. Their imagination will never match your reality. You've been through storms. They couldn't survive for a minute. You've walked through loneliness they can't even comprehend. You've faced yourself in the mirror and made peace with what you saw. That's not weakness. That's power. And you'll notice when you stop chasing validation, something magical happens. You start attracting authenticity. Real ones start appearing. People who don't just see your mask, but your wounds. People who don't flinch at your darkness because they have their own. You start building connections that don't need performance. That's when you realize you never needed a crowd. You just needed alignment. The right people don't need proof. They feel your truth. They see the light even when it's dim. But the test always comes before the transformation. The test is what you do when no one claps, when no one calls, when it feels like the world forgot you. That's when your soul is being weighed, not to judge you, but to prepare you. Because power without humility destroys. Glory without gratitude corrupts. You're being shaped for something bigger, and the shaping process hurts. It has to. Diamonds don't form without pressure. Legends don't rise without resistance. You can't skip the breaking. It's the proof that you were built for something beyond ordinary. So when the pressure hits, don't panic. When the silence stretches, don't despair. It's not punishment, it's preparation. The universe hides its best gifts behind the hardest seasons. It wants to see if you'll fold or forge ahead. If you'll choose faith when everything looks finished. That's the moment everything shifts. When you stop asking, why me? And start saying, try me. When pain stops feeling like a curse and starts becoming a tool. That's when your mind changes. And when your mind changes, your whole world follows. Because no one can truly defeat someone who's learned to see meaning in misery. You become unstoppable the moment you realize every obstacle was a clue, every loss was a lesson, every delay was protection. Life isn't trying to break you. It's trying to build you into something unshakable. And once you see it, once you really understand it, there's no going back. You stop being afraid of the dark because you finally realize that's where the light was hiding all along. People have this strange idea that when something good is coming, life starts to feel easier. Like blessings just float down, wrapped in silk and gold, soft music playing in the background. No, it's the opposite. Before something big arrives, everything gets heavy. People turn on you. Things start breaking. You feel lost, forgotten, empty. That's the sign. Not that you're cursed, but that you're close. Because pressure always hits right before breakthrough. It's the final test before you step into what was promised. It's almost like the universe whispers, "You sure you want this?" and then hands you the storm to prove it. See, people talk about success like it's a staircase. You climb one step at a time, but it's not. It's a fight. Every step wants to throw you off. Every fear tries to pull you back. You start to notice that when your moment is near, distractions come dressed as comfort. Temptations appear as opportunities, and you have to choose. Keep fighting or settle where you are. That's why most people never make it past, almost. Because the closer you get, the louder doubt becomes. It doesn't whisper anymore, it screams. It tells you you're not enough, not ready, not worthy. It makes you question every decision, every prayer, every step. But that's when you have to remember. Doubt doesn't come to stop you. It comes to confirm that you're close. And that's the thing about spiritual timing. It never comes when you're ready. It comes when you're raw. When you've been stripped of pride, of comfort, of certainty. When your faith is hanging by a thread and your soul's too tired to fake strength anymore. That's when it happens. Because blessings don't come to the perfect, they come to the broken. That's how it's always been. Broken soil grows crops. Broken clouds bring rain. Broken hearts birth purpose. You had to be shattered to see clearly, to stop thinking strength means never falling apart. Real strength is falling apart and still choosing to move. But you'll notice something strange when you start rising again. The same people who ignored you during your pain will suddenly act like they believed in you the whole time. They'll call it faith, but it's really fear. Fear of being left behind. They can sense it, you know. That shift. That invisible energy that says you're not the same anymore. You stop begging for things you used to cry about.